Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for the segment, we have David Zaikin, co-founder of Key Elements Group. Born in Ukraine and based in London, David is an experienced strategic advisor to a number of leading multinational brands, current and former leaders, and NGOs. David joins us to discuss the latest with Russia-Ukraine peace talks and how the EU could potentially manage Russian gas imports. David, it is great to see you again. We hope everyone in your family and friends in Ukraine are doing well. And over the past couple of days, there were signs of progress in negotiations that have been announced out of Russia that potentially will sharply reduce military activities. I guess the question is, do we cast any doubt on Russian claims of retreat?
Hi, Jill. Thanks for having me back. To echo President Zelensky's sentiment, Ukrainians are not naive. Over 5 weeks into the war, one constant we've witnessed globally is what President Putin says and what he does never corresponds to each other. So it became very difficult to take what Moscow says at the face value. And now what we see with all his statement, the reality on the ground is quite different. Today, what we witnessed is destruction of food warehouse 20 kilometers from Kiev. 50,000 tons of food warehouse was completely destroyed at Brovary. And also gas pipeline in Kharkiv were destroyed. So what we see now, hundreds of thousands of people without electricity, without food. So I'm no longer optimistic that we can trust what President Putin is promising.
Right. And David, it feels as if Russia miscalculated what they thought would have been a swift victory. What contributed to that, and did technology play a role with it?
Jill, in one word, overconfidence. President Putin surrounded himself by people who are scared to tell him the truth. I remember, all of us remember how in televised show in a few days before the invasion, how the chief of intel, Sergei Naryshkin, stumbled when Putin asked him to speak plainly. So I'm not sure if President Putin is being briefed properly or he's only getting good news. So, and what we've seen lately, Ukraine managed, without having latest equipment, they still managed to stop Russians and push back. And as a result, we see that only city of Kherson and city Mariupol, which is still controlled by Ukrainians, are in Russian hands. All major cities took a fight and pushed Russians back. It also played significant role in getting Russians to the table. Also using modern technology such as Turkish-made Bayraktars, drones, dramatically improved situation on the ground. It's not only intelligence, but ability to hit targets, tanks. And what we've seen, the Russians brought the Cold War technology and equipment in the 21st century. And as a result, it became worse than a knife at a gunfight. Russian logistics improved since Afghanistan, but not much. What we see that they're missing delivery of food, munition, clothing, fuel, and it all made Ukrainians who were much better organized with distributing the Western equipment and supply among the front line. It made them much better fighters on the ground, combined with strong spirit when you're protecting your children, your family, your parents, your house. It makes you unstoppable fighter.
Right, it really is quite remarkable, the spirit of the Ukrainian people. David, what are the levers to replace EU-Russian gas imports and the reliance that they have on commodities from that region?
Jill, we remember that even before the war, the price for gas went up 500% due to increased demand in Asia, but also Russia were playing a supply game. As soon as war started, the price went up 140%. And now, today, we saw the President Putin play that the countries, unfriendly countries, need to start paying for gas and rubles. So now European Union no longer can and will rely on Russia. If we look at 2019, year 2019, I'm using 2019 because it was pre-COVID. So in year 2019, European Union brought 166 billion cubic meters of gas. In 2021, 155, but it was a COVID year. 140 came via pipeline and 15 BCM were delivered by LNG. So for Europe, cutting this amount of gas, it's not feasible by the end of year 2022. Even if we bring from another 50 BCM from around the world, we reopen available nuclear or coal power plants, it will bring another 30, 32 BCM. And if we reduce heating, we can only reduce by 13 BCM. So there is a significant gap of 60 BCM, which is roughly 36% of regional supply. It would still remain. And it can trigger closure of factories and building. So massive issues for European Union. So by year 2025, there are good news. We could bring up to 90% of the supply from outside of the world. So in the medium term, by year 2025, we can debottleneck the European gas infrastructure to allow non-Russian sources to bring gas to eastern ports. We can increase domestic and foreign fossil supply from other nations. So it's 11 BCM and maybe 50, 52 respectively. And then by extending, as I mentioned earlier, the life of biogas, electric renewables, we can be 90% independent from Russian gas.
Right. So it sounds like it's a good opportunity to bring alternative sources of energy online. But David, I want to ask you in the last minute here. At the end of the day, this exercise is going to cripple the Russian economy for could be generations.
I think President Putin is at the stage where it's too late for him to move back. So me personally, I'm an optimist, and I would like to see stop of this war, but I don't think we can trust him. So I'm not hugely optimistic that sanctions played enough role for him to scale back. I think what we need to do, we need to listen to President Zelensky, because this is the last bastion of resistance. We need to get him what he's been consistently asking. We need to arm them if we don't want to take a fight.
All right, David, we appreciate the insight as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.